Hello, family and friends of Second Presbyterian Church. I want to mention some names to you. Dr. Kissling, Dr. Lee Stoffel, Art Ross, Coy Franklin, Bob Dunham, Roland Perdue. Who are these people? I doubt that you know them, but they were pastors who in my past who have had a deep impact on my own personal life of faith, and they have been mentors for me in ministry. One of the things I've enjoyed here is learning about the pastors that you have known at Second Presbyterian. Pastors like Welford Hobby, who was one of my professors at Union Seminary. He was my pastor too. Then I've heard stories about many others like Alan Smith and of course Steve Hancock. Now what they all have in common is that they are people who have led the church. They have celebrated baptisms and weddings and funerals. They have preached the word. They've taught us about life of faith. They've counseled many people. They've been with us in times of crisis. I really don't know of any other relationship that compares to that of a pastor and the members of a congregation. For over the years of this relationship, significant relationships develop. Friendships are formed. I know I am grateful for those friendships and relationships I've been blessed to have thanks to the ministry of the church. I know the same is true for the former pastors of this church. They are grateful for the relationships that have been formed here. Which is why I'm so glad to be here this Sunday when we gather after 11 o'clock worship to honor Steve Hancock as we unveil a portrait that will be right next to Alan Smith's portrait. It is a gift of love from the church to Steve, and a way to say thank you for his ministry among you. It's going to be a special day. It makes me think of something Lee Stoffel, one of my former pastors, used to say. He used to say that congregations make pastors, and pastors make congregations. I found that to be so true in my ministry. Congregations of caring and faithful people like you have had a great impact on the lives of their pastors. And if Steve is like me, he has a picture or a painting of his former church somewhere in his home, and he's thinking of you often, even in retirement. One of the great gifts in my retirement was a painting that Sharon commissioned that includes all of the churches that have been a part of my life, going all the way back to my home church, and then to every church I've served in some way throughout my years. I treasure the gift of that painting. When I look at it, it reminds me of the faithful people that I met there. And you here at Second Presbyterian, you remind me of them. All of this reflection brings to mind these words from another pastor who wrote this to one of his favorite churches. It's from a letter from Paul to the church in Philippi. To them he writes, "Every time I think of you, I thank God for you. I have joy in my heart every time I ask God to help you. I thank God for the joy we share in telling the good news from the very first day until now." So this week, let's give thanks for all the pastors and associate pastors and the staff who have been a part of the life of the church and a part of our lives. The church is a very holy and special place, and this is a very holy and special relationship we share with pastors and staff. And this week, let's especially give thanks for Steve and Missy and their ministry among us. And at the same time, I invite you to be praying for the next pastor God is calling to serve Second Presbyterian. I believe God already has somebody in mind. Your pastor nominating committee just has to figure out who it is. Whoever it is, he or she will be blessed to be here. And over time and over many experiences, a new relationship will come into being. Friendships will form as you worship and serve Christ together. A relationship, we pray, that will last you for years, until once again, one day you will gather and give thanks that God brought you together in this very special place called Second Presbyterian Church. I look forward to seeing you Sunday, if not sooner. Peace be with you all.